So I'm going to start with a poem. I don't know what those of you who are here this morning have been up to since we were together 8 hours ago. 8 hours. I can't believe that 8 hours of our day have passed so quickly. Mine have passed quickly. Maybe yours have gone nice and slowly. But I think sometimes when I'm very present in the moment, the time goes by fairly quickly. So I'm going to start with a poem called Grace. Again, I'll put these poems up in this hour, hour 9, at the end of this session. But right now I'm going to read you a poem called Grace by Alice Walker. So just make it...
Before you begin that, I have a question from somebody asking, are you video recording or audio recording?
Video recording, if you want to put your makeup on. I'm video recording.
And if you're not comfortable with being video recorded, then
just switch off.
Go on to, and take your camera off.
Yes,
thank you.
Exactly. Thank you. So make yourselves comfortable now, because this is a very beautiful poem and I'm going to read it very slowly. So Grace. Grace gives me a day too beautiful. I had thought to stay indoors, and yet washing my dishes, straightening my shelves, finally throwing out the wilted onions and the shrunken garlic and the cloves, I discover I am happy. Happy to be inside, looking out. This, I think, is wealth. Just this choosing of how a beautiful day is spent. This, I think, is wealth. Just this choosing of how a beautiful day is spent. And I chose that poem because it's very much in keeping with the theme of this retreat and the desire of this retreat. I see Melanie showing us some connected people that obviously you made earlier on. Great. Yeah, this idea of being able to choose how you spend your day. And not just spend your day, but perhaps spend how you spend your life. Because most of us just go on almost like on a conveyor belt. You know, we hope that tomorrow is a bit better than today, or we hope that tomorrow is a bit different than today, or we hope that tomorrow is as good as today. But it's always just about hoping. But to take Hugh's words this morning, to bring some sort of intention to our lives, to be able to say, you know what, actually, I intend my life. I intend to live a grateful life, to see life through the eyes of gratitude. Or I intend to see life, as Emily Jane does, through the eyes of dancing, through the eyes of moving. Or as May and Tracy do, I intend to see my life through the eyes of, isn't this great? Isn't this great fun? May, you like fun, don't you? You can, yeah, nod your head there. So it's about bringing intention, this choosing of how my day will be. And so today we're going to, this morning we looked at becoming friendly, or allowing our breath to become our friend. The very first gift that you receive in life is the very last gift that you will say goodbye to at the end of your life. So it's healthy to befriend the breath, because no matter what's happening, no matter where you are in the world, you will always have your breath with you. And many years ago, I traveled in Australia with friends of mine. This was well over 30 years ago. I went for about 8 weeks to Australia. We traveled the continent and we did lots and lots and lots and lots of miles. But there was one day that we were on a 15-hour trip. And I was sitting in the back of the car and all I kept seeing was burst tires, or the remains of burst tires all over the roads. Some of you who've lived in hot countries will know that tires bursting was not an unusual thing. But it was frightening for me, having grown up in Ireland, not having at that stage traveled all that much. I was scared. And I remember at the back of the car, suddenly realizing, if I allow my breath to lead me now in this journey, I'll be fine. If I listen to my breath, if I become attentive to my breathing, I will be fine. So I just started noticing my breath in the back of the car, and very soon I was no longer afraid. So allowing the breath to calm us. I'm sure you've all grown up with mothers and fathers who were wise. But I remember my mother used to say, breathe. So when we were anxious and we'd be chatting, chatting 10 to the dozen at high speed, she'd say, stop, breathe. Now tell me. Stop, breathe, now. Aileen, you know my mother, and you could imagine her doing that. So stop, breathe, now is one of my mantras. And you'll notice in some of the resources, it's one of the meditations. Each time you take the handle of a door, and we go in and out doors all day long, doors that mark the transitions from one space to another, so that we're not constantly going automatically. Just take the handle of the door, stop, breathe, and now I'm going forward into a new room, a new moment, a new space, a new day, a new season. So in Ireland, those of us who are living in Ireland or from Ireland will know that one of the most common questions when you meet somebody is, how are you? Or how are you? Or if you live in Derry, London Derry, right? They say, what do they say? Does anybody want to come on from Northern Ireland and say, what's the greeting in London Derry or Derry? Anybody even know? Boucha, isn't it? Boucha, which means how about you? Bout you. Boucha. So in Ireland, we tend to say usually, generally speaking, the answer we give is, I'm grand, or fine, or, no bother. We have all these quick phrases that we use when somebody says, how are you? But actually, how often do we stop, really stop, and listen in to see how we actually are? So in all traditions, all faith traditions, spiritual traditions, the two realities that are deeply respected, that merit deep reverence. One is the breath, known as Ruah, in some traditions known as the Holy Spirit, breath of life, life-giving source. But the other is the body, known in the Christian tradition as the temple of the Holy Spirit. In other traditions, the sacred vessel. The sacredness of the body and the breath are common to all of our traditions, the wisdom traditions of the world. And of course, it's obvious because all we have is our body and our breath and the ground we stand on and the air we breathe. Those 4 dimensions. Body, well, in fact, breath is air we breathe. Body, earth, and breath. And our bodies are actually the conduit, the vessel, the instrument through which we are connected to the earth, like Daniela out there at the moment in the earth, and to the sky, the earth and the sky. So when somebody says, how are you? It really is worth stopping for a moment and listening. So that's what we're going to do this afternoon. We're going to ask ourselves, how am I? How am I really? So we're going to do what's often known as a body scan. It's known as other things. Very often people go into churches, although that's only just recently happening again, but they go in for a quiet space where they can gather themselves, where they can listen. But more often than not, body scans happen when people are ill. Because somebody will say, where is your pain? Where is the pain? What kind of pain is it? Is it sharp? Is it dull? Is it throbbing? Is it aching? So very often, the only time we pay attention to our bodies is when we're in pain. And sometimes the only time we pay attention to our lives is when we're struggling. But can you imagine if instead of waiting for something to go wrong, you actually had a practice, Elaine, a little bit like the habits you were talking about this morning, a habit of checking in to ask yourself, how am I now? Is my body in need of anything right now from me? Or am I going to walk around and act as though my body doesn't matter? That the only thing that matters are my thoughts and my plans and my worries. So listening to the body is almost like a way of learning to listen in general. Listening to what actually all day long is working without us noticing. We nearly always listen to see what's wrong. If I said to you right this minute, your sister wants you to ring her back, or your mother said, ring her immediately, the first thought you're likely to have is, what's wrong? Because automatically we go to, what's wrong? Well, I'm going to say to you, there's an awful lot more right with your life than wrong with your life. But we never stop to look. So for the next 20, 25 minutes, we're actually going to do a body scan, not looking to see what's wrong, but just listening deeply to see what is so. How am I now? No judgment, no trying to fix or make better or change or sort out, but just listening to what there is for us to be with. And I'm going to encourage you and invite you to see if you can be with your bodies as witnesses, just being a witness to what there is for your body to be with right now, this afternoon. So I'm going to use my bell again to get us started, this Tibetan bowl. So before I start to use the bowl, just wriggle your bums in your seats or wherever you are right now. Just make yourself aware of your body. And just when you've gotten to a point of sitting, now in order to do the body scan reasonably well, when I say reasonably well, there's no right or wrong. It's very, very important, because we're going to be doing this for a little while, to be as comfortable as you can possibly be. So it might be that you choose to lie down. I'm not recommending it if you're sleepy and if you just had your lunch, because then you're likely to fall asleep and we might not see you again for the rest of the time. But if sitting is uncomfortable, then don't sit there so that you can look good. Because if you don't come back for the rest of the hour, don't make yourself wrong. Maybe your body just needs to sleep. But just make sure that the most important thing right now is to make yourself really comfortable. And as human beings, we're not good at making ourselves comfortable. We think we don't deserve it. We're not worth it. But we are. So the very first thing, when I work with people with mental health issues, the very first thing we do, and sometimes we do it for weeks on end, is to learn that I'm worthy of being comfortable. Because you're worth it, as the ad says. I'm worthy. So make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can. And we're now going to start the meditation. I'll ring the bell. So as you sit here now, comfortably in your seat or lying down, wherever you're lying down. Just allowing yourself for a moment just to become aware of where your body is touching the seat, the floor, the ground underneath you, or the air around you. Just become fully aware of yourself sitting and being here right now. And it helps sometimes to allow your eyes to close. And just to become aware of your hands on your lap or wherever they are on the ground. And again, like we did this morning, if you want to feel a little bit more open, and that's always helpful when we're scanning our bodies, perhaps to turn your palms upwards towards the sky, just to make room. If on the other hand, you really want to feel grounded right in this moment, then turn your palms downwards towards the earth or the ground or your lap. And as you sit here now, the question that you're putting to the body, your body, this body that is a gift that you have been given by God or by whatever it is that you name the source of life. You didn't create yourself. This body was a gift, is a gift. So you're taking time now to just be with the body. And the question is how are you now? So just becoming aware now of the soft rise and fall of the body with each breath. As the air enters the body, just notice the little soft, gentle movements that rise up and open the body. And again, as the spirit, as the air leaves the body, as you give it back, just notice the body rest and relax and let go. Breathing in, I receive life. Breathing out, I am grateful. And as you become more aware of your breath, allowing the breath to deepen at its own pace, in its own time. So just bringing your awareness and becoming more attentive to the breath as it enters the body. And on the next in-breath, seeing if you can imagine that breath bringing you all the way down to the soles of your feet. Not just thinking about your feet now, but allowing all of your attention to be at the soles of your feet. And becoming aware now of anything that arises in that attentive space. See if you notice any tingling, tension, tightness, itch, cold or heat. Or perhaps you don't notice anything at all. That's absolutely fine. Just becoming aware of the soles of your feet, the spaces between your toes, the arches of your feet, perhaps lifting up off the ground slightly. The heels. How are my feet right now? Right foot, left foot. And on the next out breath, maybe letting go of your attention in the feet and drawing back in the breath. And with it, bringing your attention up your lower legs, front and back, your shin bone, your calf, right leg, left leg. And again, imagining now that you can travel up further, up to your knees. Again, how are your knees? When did you last even think about your knees, unless you had a pain? How are the knees right now? The kneecaps and the little hollows in behind at the back of the leg. And traveling upwards now in the next in-breath, up the upper legs, the thighs. Noticing your thighs now resting on the chair or on the ground. And noticing if you're sitting, the weight and the sensation of your hands on the upper side of your thighs. Once more now, as you breathe out, letting go of the attention to your legs and drawing your breath up now, right up to the pelvic area, the hip bones and up into the pelvic area. Spending some time now in this part of the body where there are a lot of organs that are working quietly without you even noticing. Digesting, metabolizing, keeping you well and alive and healthy. All these parts that work quietly in the background, that rarely get attention. Bringing all of your love and your attention right now to the pelvic area. How are you? How is your pelvic area right now, today? You may be aware of hardness, softness, tension, calm, gurgling, discomfort, or just a general sense of space. And moving up right now in the next in-breath, up to the abdomen and the lower spine. Part of our body that we very often feel when we're stressed or excited. We talk about butterflies in our belly, in our tummies. That part of our body that very often manages so much of our lives without us knowing, often known as the second brain, the gut. And in some cultures believed to be more powerful than the thinking brain, the intuitive part of the body, the part of the body that manages quite often the nervous system, becomes aware of anxiety even before we know what's going on. So again, as you breathe and stay here for a little while, just noticing, how is your belly? How is your spine, your lower spine, right now? And again, just slowly, slowly traveling upwards, scanning upwards, up to where the lungs are, the chest area, lungs and upper spine, ribs, that area that filters the air and brings us life. That area that has been so affected in so many people's lives by this COVID virus, the breathing disease. The disease that maybe tells us that we need to stop and breathe and be grateful for every breath. How are your lungs today as they fill with air and as they release the air back into the environment, back into the world? This is also the heart center. So noticing, if you can, the beat of your heart with each rise and fall of the body. And with each breath, allowing the body to relax more and more deeply into this moment. You, this body, right here, right now, being held by the earth and fed by the air. Nothing to do but be here, fully present, embodied. And letting go now of the trunk of the body and the legs, bringing the attention to the shoulders. And staying with the shoulders for a little while, because very often the shoulders bear the weight of the world for us. All the thoughts that we carry in our heads, very often we feel the weight of that on our shoulders. We carry the burdens of life heavily on our shoulders. So as you breathe in, allowing the shoulders to soften and relax. Nothing to carry right now. How are your shoulders? How are my shoulders? And from the shoulders, allowing the attention to travel all the way down through the arms to the tips of your fingers. To become aware of the sensations right now in your hands, palms of the hands, the back of the hands. These hands that help us to take in the world each time we touch something. These hands that may be deprived of having touched a human being for quite a long time now. Bringing all of the love that you can possibly bring into these hands right now. Breathing in, breathing out. Becoming aware of each finger on both hands. And traveling upwards through the arms, the lower arms, the forearms, through the wrists, right up to the elbows. And from the elbows, right up to the shoulders. Being in your arms, being with these arms that long to embrace, are there to embrace, to receive, to touch. And drawing the attention now to the neck, that fragile little part of the body that connects the trunk to the head, the throat, and all those small little vertebrae at the back of the neck. And now, coming to the face, that part of ourselves that we show the world and often hides a lot of what's going on behind itself, the world behind the face. So becoming aware of the jawbone, the big jaw bones, right and left, lips, tongue, teeth, softening them as you move up, allowing them to loosen and soften. No need now to carry anything other than the way things are. No need to pretend or put a mask on. Just face the world as you are. Becoming aware of your eyes behind the eyelids and the expanse of your forehead. And that little area between the eyebrows that very often carries our uncertainty, our longing to understand. Just breathing in and allowing it all to be exactly as it is. And now, just before we finish, just breathing in and allowing, if you can imagine, each breath to refresh that brain, that operating system. Breathing in and allowing your brain to be aerated, to be refreshed, to be reset. Breathing out and letting go any of the weight that you may have been carrying, the extra information, the thoughts, the worries, the plans, letting them go. And imagining, if you can, that with the next in-breath, you can breathe out through the top of the head, through the crown of the head, almost like a whale with a blowhole at the top of your head, about the size of a pound. So breathing in and out into the world through the top of your head, and breathing in from the heavens and back out through your nose. Breathing in again from the heavens and out through the top of your head. Breathing in again from the heavens, circular breathing. And on the next in-breath, through the top of the head, through the crown of the head, imagine, if you can, that you're able to bring the breath all the way down through the body, that the breath leads you all the way and out through the soles of your feet into the earth. And breathing in from the roots, from the deep of the earth, the depths of the earth, all the way through the feet, up through the body, and out through the crown of the head. Body. Breathing here in this moment, connecting the earth to the heavens, and the heavens to the earth. This body that is an instrument of the flow of love throughout the universe, from the heavens into the earth, and from the earth back to the heavens. And turning inwards again now and thanking yourself, allowing the body to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for coming home. Home to the body. Home to myself. Home to this moment. Home to this breath. And in a moment now, I'm going to ring the bell and just very, very, very gently allow yourself to come back into the space. Just allowing yourself to stretch and yawn, move very gently, very small movements. So I'm going to read a poem now. Then I'm going to unmute. Well, I'm going to invite you to unmute yourself if there's anything you'd like to say about this time and how you are in your body. But I'm going to read a poem firstly. And again, I will put this up online in the resources. Are you in your body? Sincerely explore for yourself. Are you here or are you not? Are you in your body or oblivious or only aware of parts of it? When I say, are you in your body? I mean, are you completely filling your body? I want to know whether you are in your feet or do you just have feet? Do you live in them or are they just something you use when you walk? Are you in your body or do you just know vaguely that you have a belly? Or is it just for food? Are you really in your hands? Or do you just move them from a distance? Are you present in your cells, inhabiting and filling your body? If you aren't in your body, what significance is there in your experience of this moment? Here's my question to you. Are you preparing so that you can be here sometime in the future? Are you setting up conditions by saying to yourself, when such and such a thing happens, I'll have time and then I'll be here? If you are not here, then what are you saving yourself for? I love that question. If I'm not here now, then when do I think I will be here? What am I saving myself for? So I'm inviting you now to, if you'd like, to say how that experience was for you, what it's like to come home to your body, and what did you discover that maybe you didn't know before you stopped and listened? So just unmute yourself when you want to speak. I'm not going to call anybody's name. If two people come in at the same time, we'll be able to manage that, so don't worry.
Hey, yeah, that was wonderful. I have to say, my body sort of just went in complete relax mode. That's what it's been. It's been a long time since it's done that, I think, even with COVID-19. So yeah, I actually probably think I completely zoned out there for a while too. So it was really lovely, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. It was lovely.
Oh, you're welcome, Christina.
Very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I felt that enlivening, and I felt parts of my body, especially my feet, tingling. And I enjoyed the bit about the heaven and earth connecting from my head to my feet to my head, and the idea of love by my presence, bringing love by my presence here now.
Yeah.
That's what I like. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Lynn. You are really welcome. And thank you.
I struggled with it a bit when we sat down, and I could feel my tummy was queasy not long after my lunch, and I thought, well, can I really sit still for 20 minutes? You know, just go and make yourself a cup of coffee or something to settle your tummy. And actually I was able to stay for it. I found it hard because I still feel my tummy's kind of not quite right. Maybe a peppermint tea or something would be better than a coffee.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting, Joanne, if we listen enough, we don't do the automatic. Automatically, when we're going at a speed, we don't even notice if our tummies are well or if they're not. And even if we do notice, we do the thing that comes to mind first. Whereas now you're thinking, maybe peppermint tea.
Yeah.
That whole thing about choosing the life, choose. This checking in gives us a moment to stop and choose. Thank you. I want to, at this point, I know that two people joined us that during our meditation. Dave has come in and Brendan. I don't know if they're still here, but I know that they came in the middle of yes, I think Dave is still here, and Brendan I think is still here. So welcome to you. So anybody else?
Maria, this is Gaia.
Gaia, yes.
I joined too at the feet moment. Thank you. Sorry for being late. I was convinced it was at 3 instead of 2, but I thought it was beneficial even if I joined. Probably I was halfway through.
Yeah, that's what's lovely about this, is that you can come, anyone can come whenever they come. Like, that's the whole idea of community, is that we come when we're ready to come, and no one ever is late. The right people are always here. The people who are here are the right people, and no one is ever late. So Gaia, was it valuable for you to come in even for the short length of time you were here?
It was, absolutely. And I thought it was quite fitting as well, because I've been doing some movement work over the last few weeks. And what we worked on were the feet and awareness about the knees. So I joined right at the time when you were
perfect.
And yeah, it was, and I managed to relax and, settle in the meditation too. So it was beautiful. Thank you, Maria.
You are so welcome. And I'm very aware that for some people who came on this retreat, you came out of a place of faith. And what we've been doing is very much, almost, it can seem like a secular meditation. But I suppose for me, I believe that nothing is only faith, or, it's neither sacred nor secular. We exist as one whole and complete. And coming home to my body in the way that we did just now really allows me to feel God's love. It's like stopping and allowing God, or the source of love, whatever word you want to use, allowing it to enter, bringing compassion where we usually don't even bring attention. Brendan Garvey, I want to welcome you, because I think you're coming in assuming this is a family call. Today I forgot to tell you it wasn't on. But it's great. Brendan is my brother, and we're very human. We normally have a family call at 2:30 on a Sunday. Brendan, you must find it very strange to walk in and to have 30 or 40 people here. So you're muted if you want to say anything. You're still muted. You might want to press the unmute button. And I don't think I can unmute you. Maybe I can. There you go. I've unmuted you.
Right. On the phone tour, I talked to.
Or if Mahagut. Now I'm going to mute you again. Goodbye, my dear. Thank you so much for popping in.
All right. Slán Anish.
Slán. Bye-bye. So anybody else just before we finish?
Maria?
Yes,
First
Ailey.
of all, I'd just like to say a special dear grit to Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
And just to say, I really enjoyed that. I found a tingling in my whole body from the tips of my toes right up to the crown of my head. What I found really interesting was the idea of, putting the face on it, and behind the face, it would usually be my thoughts, but this time behind my face were the sensations in my body, which was really interesting for me. So thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, Aileen, thank you. And it's a wonderful place perhaps for us to almost come to a close now. Very often, I think that we walk around the world as though the only part that matters is what we can see. So we look at people's faces and we jump to all sorts of conclusions. We jump, even our own faces, when we look at ourselves in the mirror. But one of the things I love to think about all the time is that there's a whole universe, a whole world behind every face. And imagine getting curious to find out, what is the world behind the face that's right in front of me? And even when you look at the mirror, what is the whole world that's behind this little face in this moment? So I'm going to leave us with a poem. And those of you who are courageous and brave, we're meeting again in 8 hours time, 10 o'clock tonight, and for Irish time. At what time is that in Canada, Claire?
It'll be 2 in the afternoon.
2 in the afternoon. And I think there may well be there are Australians who have signed up. I don't know if they'll come in or not, but they may. And I don't know what time it's going. I'm no good at this time business, but you know, they'll know what time. So I think it'll be their getting up time. But anyway, I'm going to read.
It will be 7 o'clock in the morning.
Ah, thank you so much, Tess. I'm so glad you're here to keep me straight. Yeah, so they may well come tomorrow morning, and if not, they don't. Hopefully they're using the resources. Have you all managed to get into the resources? Or if you don't, they'll be there for you. So I'm going to read a poem. Yeah.
Sorry, Maria. The resources are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much to you and Tess. I've kind of gone through a few things, but it's beautiful. And I think it was Orla this morning. I was still waking up, so but he mentioned that she was going to take 1 hour at a time for each week. And I think I'll follow suit. I'll follow on that approach because they're just so beautiful that they just deserve a good chunk of time dedicated to each one of them.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, there was a whole team of people. Behind this space is a whole world of people who make my world work. So I'm going to finish with this poem. It's Wild Geese. Many of you will know it by one of my favorite poets, Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. So, my dears, I think somebody has just come in right now. Rachel, perhaps you got the time wrong, Rachel, because we're just finishing. If you want to put on your camera, Rachel, so we can see you, that would be great. But if not, we'll be meeting again in 8 hours' time. So, my dears, let's do the namaste. I greet, right? I greet you. I greet the beloved and the blessed in you, the blessed in me, the human in me acknowledges and greets the human and the blessed in you. Bye-bye. See you later.